It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and it's Sunday Fun Day. It's also July 10th, and it's hot. Oh my gosh, how many of you, show of hands, how many are already over it this summer? Right? I always say summer's my favorite time of the year, and it is, but dang, what it does to our plants, am I right? Gosh, I walk around the garden and I just cringe. You know, things are just so shriveled and desiccated, and it's early days, right? We still have the majority of July, all of August. If you live where I do, September's the hottest month of the year, even into October. So then it just becomes trying, to sustain, trying to provide shade where you can. But some things you just can't move, and it's really awkward to get a beach umbrella over, so you just hope for the best, don't you? So I thought, as I was meandering around out in the garden today, what would be fun? What would make my heart sing? What would make me happy today? And what would make me happy today is to rework this head planter, because I've been threatening to do it for months. This is a planter that enjoys pretty deep shade most of the day back here. It does get, bright indirect light and even a little sun at the very end of the day. But for the most part, as you can tell, by the etiolation of these ghosties and this Fred Ives, it doesn't get a lot of sun. The string of pearls is doing spectacular. This is the only place in my garden where these are actually really thriving. And I can say now, without the benefit of even the slightest doubt, if you have string of pearls, you fertilize it. You go ahead, you get a cactus and succulent fertilizer, or dilute a regular strength generic fertilizer 10-to-1. And when you water, you fertilize. Because this plant looks its best with some water and with some food. And I don't know, I'm just partial to it. I know it's kind of a diva and it's fussy, and it, kind of breaks all the succulent rules of benign neglect and whatnot, but gosh darn it, it's so pretty, and I just love it so much. So, yeah, I'm going to preserve the string of pearls. I'm going to preserve the Fred Ives. I'm going to preserve these guys in the front here, which I think are Vera Higgins, I'm pretty sure. They're just, typically Vera Higgins is more of a copper color, but I think because it's in the shade, it's reverted to more of a blue. And I'm just, right now, I'm just deadheading. I'm just picking off dead leaves and doing a little grooming and kind of getting my bearings as to what's staying and what's going. But what I did is I went around the garden and I pulled things that were struggling, like my Aeonium urbicums, which are just hibernating. They are super dormant right now, and they close all up in a tight ball, but I really love that look. So what a fun plant to put in my shade planter. I've got Echeveria harmsii ruby slippers. This is another one that's stressed really, really nicely. One of the Aeonium kiwis, we've been talking a lot about this plant and how it tends to bruise on the back side of the leaf, but really beautiful and well stressed. Echeveria elegans, or Mexican snowball. This plant, I got 6 or 7 of these rosettes from my son's garden in Claremont, and I was determined to make them go here in my garden in Chula Vista. And what I have learned about elegans is in the summer or hotter, warmer months, they do not like sun and heat. So this is a great one for a shadier spot. And then Sedum California Sunset. Pulled this guy out of my fountain. Oh, here's a Vera Higgins, same plant. Look at that. See, this one on the left that's kind of copper colored gets full sun, and the one on the right is in the shade, so you can see the difference in the coloration there. I pulled some beautiful California sunset sedum adelphi. This came from my pond area. Really, really pretty and well stressed. And this is another one that will turn green in the shade. I've got a little piece of variegated Crassula ovata. This actually is in a 15-gallon can. It's a project leftover over on the side of the house. Really, really well stressed. Thought it would go great in there. And this little unnamed sedum, which is pink. I don't know what else to say. Isn't this so stunning? I pulled this out of the sun gutter. And then I have some rubra-tinctum, sedum rubra-tinctum aurora, which is the variety that turns kind of pink. And then I have the standard burro's tail or sedum rubra-tinctum that's more red and green. This is my favorite, the pink one. So yes, these plants have been out languishing in, or I should say desiccating out in the sun. And so I am going to give them a break and work with them as cuttings in a shade arrangement. So I get the benefit of not killing the plants and enjoying that sun-stressed color in the shade. So that's something fun that you can do in these hotter months, is just cheat a little bit and work with some really well-stressed plants in your shade planters. They are going to stay this color forever, but for the next couple of months or so, they will, and I will enjoy them. All of the plants that I put in this head planter started as cuttings. So you can see that this has started to root. You can also see that it's etiolating or reaching for the sun. See how the leaves are really thick and juicy down below, but as the plant is searching for light, they get thinner and farther apart. That's not necessarily the best look, but oh well. This is particularly hilarious here. This ghosty. Look at the roots on that. I am not a huge lover of the leggy look. So those are the first ones that I'm going to pull out, and I'm not going to feel bad about it at all. See how, I think this is a superbum. This is a Graptopetalum superbum here, and it's still got some of its kind of lavender color. I might work with this one again in this arrangement, but everything is coming out so easy because a number of months ago, everything was planted in as a cutting. And then, you know, just your little Crassula Crosby's compact as kind of a filler. That's a nothing burger if ever there was one. Oh, it's so fun. What a fun Sunday. I am thoroughly enjoying myself right now. Okay, this is this. Can you even with that? Sun. No sun. All right. Ew. You know, as I'm pulling out my little plants, I'm also able to clean up all of this detritus, which is very rewarding. Now, you're probably wondering, what is she going to do with those plants that she pulled out? No fear. Fear not. I am not going to get rid of them or throw them away. They will be repurposed. I will put them somewhere, I promise you. There's nothing wrong with the plants other than some etiolation and just the fact that they've kind of lost their pizzazz. These would actually be really good candidates to put over in my shadier gutters, over in Bentley's toilet area. I don't want to put these in full sun because that's a death sentence for them. I wouldn't do that to them. But popping them in over in the shade gutters, you know, I can fill in some gaps and I can take advantage of, you know, the mature growth on them. And those shade gutters, I shouldn't really call them shade gutters because they get more light and more sun than this arrangement does, tucked back here against the trellis. So I think that they will cease their etiolation too and pick up a lot more color. So that's actually a really good idea. And this is a little Crassula platyphylla. You know, I don't know if this was the pink or the red because now being in the full shade, it's just green. But it is getting ready to bloom, and I think that's kind of neat. So I'm just going to let that ride. I do not hate that at all. Kind of over, well, I don't know. Am I over? What do you guys think? Are we over this Ruber Tinctum? No, right? That looks cool, huh? I don't hate that there. And this crassula, this ripple jade here, the curly jade, it kind of works against the curls at her forehead, don't you think? So I think I'm good, you know, as far as look at all the plants I took out of that though. Look at that. Oh my gosh, so many. And I have all these fabulous ones to put in. So I'm just going to take my multi-tool and I'm going to start just loosening up the soil a little bit, because remember, if your succulent stands up, you've done your job. So I just want to loosen it up enough that, for example, when I put this heavy aeonium in, it's not going to fall over. I wanted to keep enough of a trunk on it too that it would show over top of the curly jade. Same with the Harmsii. I purposely left a little trunk, but again, that is just so that it will show up above these other plants. See, I'm not even planting it. I'm just laying it on top of the soil. It will figure it out from there. Then, you know, my fillers, like the yellow jade, those can kind of go in the back here, because this is an arrangement that I enjoy from a few different perspectives. I like to see it looking forward at the face when I come out the back door and I'm working in the yard. I also like to see it from my seated position right here. So I want it to look good 360 degrees. Now, this little elegans, it's kind of heavy, so I'm going to put it right behind the aeonium. Granted, you're not going to be able to see it from a front perspective, but it's going to act to hold this aeonium up, and I can enjoy it from my position back here. Then the plants that have the color, you know, I really want to take advantage of putting them front and center, because that was the point of the experiment. And it's just so crazy, because you look at these and you think, how have you achieved that kind of color in the shade? Because I cheated Mother Nature. That's how I did it. Put that one right there. How fun is this? Yes, I am. I'm just tucking these in. I'm not even planting. Oops. As you can see, I'm not even planting them. They're just basically making contact with the soil, but also there's no stress on these plants here in the shade. So they'll be just fine, and they'll start to root just like their predecessors. Oh yeah, like that. How about that? And then a couple more of the Ruber Tinctum. And then I actually didn't have quite enough plants. Well, here's another Sedum Adolphi. I guess I could throw that in the back here. Loosen it up a little bit. Remember, no dirt showing, no dirt showing. If your dirt is showing, you have not done your job. Then those jades that I would talked about as nothing burgers are actually going to serve a really good purpose in just covering up some dirt. You know, and in some arrangements, this would be a good place for little rocks, pebbles, fiberglass, but I'm not feeling rocks. I have rocks in my head, but I don't want her to have rocks in her head. So I would prefer for her to be just really densely planted. Okay, so what I have effectively done in just a few minutes is create or recreated an arrangement that gives me so much pleasure, but that's been driving me a little batty for the last couple months because it's just been overgrown and kind of stemmy and leggy and just not really ringing my bells. Now she is back to ringing my bells. And remember, the secret to this is shade. Take your stressed plants from the sun, cut them, put them in a shade arrangement and enjoy them for the next few months until the color fades out, and then repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse. Keep working your plants through your garden all around, enjoying your microclimates as you go. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with Sunday Fun Day and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.